Fractures, discontinuity in the bone integrity. There are various types of fractures: simple, compound, pathologic, and the way the fractures heal is way more interesting than you think. Hello guys, this is Rahul. Welcome to our channel Doctors to Be. And today's topic of discussion is fractures and healing of the fractures. A fracture can be defined as a loss of bone integrity either due to weakening of the bone or due to a mechanical injury. Okay, due to mechanical injury or diminished bone strength, that is weakening of the bone. Yes or no? Diminished bone strength. So there are various types of fractures. So coming to the types of fractures, and we'll discuss few of the types. And the first one is simple fracture. So in simple fracture, the fractured bone does not communicate with the overlying skin. Okay, suppose if the radius is fractured, the overlying skin is intact. The skin is the fractured bone does not communicate with the skin. Okay, so overlying skin is intact. The bone is only affected, the skin is not communicating with the skin, does not communicate with the fracture. Okay, then we have compound fracture. In this, the fracture communicates with the skin. Okay, that means along with the fracture is communicating, there is an injury to the skin also. Okay, it's communicating with the skin, the fracture is communicating with the skin. Fracture communicates with skin. Then we have comminuted. Where the fractured bone is fragmented. Okay, bone is fragmented. Then we have displaced fractures, in which in displaced fracture what happens is, at the site of fracture the bones, suppose this is a bone and this is the site of fracture. At the site of fracture the bones are not aligned to one another. Okay, at the fracture site, this is the fracture site, and the bones are not aligned to each other. This is known as displaced bone. Okay, the ends of the bones are not aligned. Bone at fracture site are not aligned. Okay, and the fifth type is pathologic fractures. So these fractures are due to an underlying disease. Okay, suppose we discussed about Paget's disease, in which the osteosclerotic stage, the bone becomes densely compact and is susceptible to fractures. So fracture due to Paget's disease, this is a type of pathologic fracture. Okay, fracture due to underlying disease. Okay, so this is type of fracture disease, pathologic fractures. Underlying disease. Okay, So these are the few types of fractures we need to discuss. Simple, compound. Simple in which the overlying skin is intact. Compound where the skin communicates with the fracture. Then we have displaced fractures in which the ends of the bone at fracture site are not intact. Sorry, are not aligned. Okay. Fracture site are not aligned. Then we have pathologic fractures where fractures are caused due to underlying disease. So this is a definition of the fracture and some important types of fracture. Now we shall discuss about the healing of fractures. So healing of fracture involves following processes. So involves these processes or these steps, you can say. First is tissue destruction and hematoma formation. Okay, tissue destruction, there is always, if there is a fracture, there is a tissue destruction and hematoma. Then the second step is inflammation and cellular proliferation. Okay, this is proliferation. Hematoma and cellular proliferation. Then we have the third, callus formation. Then consolidation and the fifth and the last step is remodeling. Okay, remodeling of the breached fracture. So these are the steps by which healing of the fractures takes place. Now we shall discuss about each step in detail. So first one, tissue destruction and hematoma. In tissue destructions, during fracture, the blood vessels are obvious to rupture. The blood vessels get ruptured and there is formation of hematoma. Okay, hematoma is collection of blood. When there is rupture of the blood vessels, the blood accumulates at the site of fracture. Okay, that is called hematoma formation. So rupture of vessels and hematoma, that is blood accumulation of the blood. Develops in and around the fracture. So guys, if you like our videos, if you find them helpful, please consider subscribing the channel. That will help us to grow and stay motivated. Then at the site of fracture, okay, the bones, suppose this is the site of fracture and there is blood supply to the bones and a rupture is causing hematoma formation. Okay, and this is the hematoma formation. Rupture is causing the, I'll show the proper pictures for now. This is blood supply and this is site of fracture is over here, and the point, okay, the point where the bone is not supplied, suppose, and just consider that this is the site of fracture and this part is not supplied, is deprived of the blood supply. This part deprived of the blood supply dies off a few centimeters below to reach the blood supply, to have the blood supply. Okay, I mean to say that just this is a bone and this is the site of fracture. Okay, and here is the blood supply, and the part of bone deprived of blood supply at the site of fracture, the part of bone deprived of blood supply at the site of fracture dies off. Okay, this part dies off below few centimeters, few millimeters. Okay, So we are going to write about that point. Bone at, we'll write the same thing. Okay, so bone at fracture site deprived of blood vessels dies of few millimeters below. Okay, then we have the second process, that is inflammation and cellular proliferation. In this, what happens is, within 8 hours, in 8 hours of fracture, there is acute inflammatory reaction. Okay, acute inflammatory reaction, and along with it there is cellular proliferation under the periosteum and the breached medullary canal. Okay, so in 8 hours there is inflammatory reaction and cellular proliferation. Okay, at periosteum and breached medullary canal. So after cell proliferation, the hematoma is slowly cleared and new capillaries start to grow. Okay, so this is the second point for inflammation and cellular proliferation. What happens is, slowly hematoma is cleared and new capillaries start to grow. Okay, new capillaries begin to develop or grow, same thing. Then we have the third process or third step, that is callus formation. So callus formation, this callus is actually a mass, cellular mass. Okay, callus is a cellular mass and formed around the fracture site, and this callus formation actually eventually the cells in the callus or the cellular mass, that the same cells that started proliferating among the mass of the cells, we have some osteogenic cells that lay down new bones. Okay, and the callus initially it limits the movement at the fracture site. Okay, and finally the cells lay down woven bone, which is later converted into the lamellar bone. Okay, so in general understanding, callus is cellular mass with some potential osteogenic or osteochondric cells, and chondrogenic and osteogenic, potential chondrogenic and osteogenic cells, which limit the movement at the fracture site, and finally they lay down, the cells in the callus lay down bones which lay down new bones which is mineralized to form a bridge between the fractures. Okay, so we'll see the pictures how the callus formation look like. For let's write the points. Okay, so potential osteogenic, chondrogenic, and even osteoclast are present in proliferating cells. Okay, osteogenic cells, they will obviously they'll lay down new bone, while the osteoblasts, what they'll do, we discussed that at the site of fracture bone deprived from blood supply dies off, so the osteoclasts will mop up the dead bone. Okay, osteoclasts mop up the, that means clear the dead bone. Then I told that the callus formation is a mass of cells that will limit, finally it will, initially it will limit the movement, finally it also it forms the bridge, it gets after mineralization, yes or no? So thick the cellular mass, okay, cellular mass, thick cellular mass with woven bone which is later converted into lamellar bone, at periosteal and endosteal surfaces is mineralized. Okay, and this mineralization will finally keys the movement at the site of fracture progressively. The movement is keysed progressively, not at once. Okay, it gets mineralized and then the movement at the site of fracture is keysed. So these processes of laying down of the woven bone, this is driven by certain factors, and these are fibroblast growth factors, bone morphogenic factors, and transformation growth factors. Okay, mineralized and movement keys. Okay, these processes are driven by, I guess if okay, driven by bone morphogenic proteins. Okay, BMP is bone morphogenic proteins, BON, bone morphogenic proteins. We discussed about this previously in our previous videos also, so you can have a look about these in videos about hemostasis and remodeling in the playlist named metabolic disorders of bone. Okay, so these processes are driven by BMP, that is bone morphogenic proteins. Then we have transforming growth factors, TGF, transforming growth factors. Then we have fibroblast growth factors. Okay, I am writing in short form, please don't get confused, and I'll dictate the full forms of the abbreviations. these the cellular mass, once again, okay, the cellular mass with one bone at the periosteal. So you know the bone surface is covered by periosteum, okay, the outer part, the outer, this is a bone and the outer part is known as periosteum. Outer layer that covers the bone is known as periosteum, and from the inside it is covered by endosteum, okay, this is called endosteum. So cellular mass with woven bone at both periosteal and endosteal surface, as this is breached, then both at both surfaces there will be formation of the cellular mass, which is finally mineralized, and movement at the site of fracture will eventually cease. And these processes, okay, the formation of callus formation is driven by certain factors. They are bone morphogenic proteins. BMP is bone morphogenic proteins. TGF is transforming growth factors, and FGF stands for fibroblast growth factors. Okay, so these are not authentic abbreviations. I have just written it because I didn't find space and I don't want you to get confused. Now let's discuss about the fourth and the fifth processes, that is consolidation and remodeling, and then we'll see the figure. Consolidation. So we saw that woven bone is already formed at the endosteal and periosteal surfaces. Now that woven bone gets converted into lamellar bone. Okay, woven bone is converted into lamellar bone. This is the first point. Then the osteoclasts borrow the debris. Okay, the debris are borrowed by the osteoclasts, and the osteoblast will fill the gaps between the fragments. Okay, we also saw that osteoclast previously also first action was to mop the dead cells. Now they are clearing the debris. Osteoclasts clear debris, and osteoblasts fill the gaps between fragments. Okay, now let's come to remodeling. Final process in the healing of fractures. So remodeling, actually when the bones, when the two fractured ends are bridged, it is bridged by a cuff of solid bone. Okay, but the medullary cavity to have a proper structure of the bone, to get its original or previous structure, the marrow cavity should be retained, yes or no, or remodeled, reformed, and the areas where there is high stress, where high stress is exerted, in those areas thick lamellar bones should be laid, thick lamellae should be laid, and from the places where the excess of the bones that are laid should be removed from the unnecessary sites, yes or no. So this is the process, this is what overall remodeling in under remodeling takes place. Okay, so since fracture is bridged by a cuff of solid bone, what should be done? First, thick lamellae should be laid at areas of great or more stress, yes or no? Where there are more stress is exerted, where more stress is exerted, there should there thick lamellae should be laid so that the structure is more compact, more rigid. Then excess bone from where unnecessary areas should be removed. And this, and finally the medullary cavity or the medullary cavity should be reformed, and medullary cavity is reformed. Okay, this knot is removed. What this is the steps, or this is the things that takes place in remodeling. Okay, we are not giving any order or command. Medullary cavity is reformed. So these are the things, or these are the events that takes place during remodeling after the fracture is breached by a solid calf of bone. Okay, so now let's see some of the pictures how it looks. So these figures are showing the processes that undergo during fracture healing. This is figure A is representing hematoma formation in and around the fracture site. Then inflammatory reaction is taking place. The inflammatory cells are quite so tiny in the figure, so I guess you cannot see it so well. So this is hematoma formation. This is the showing inflammatory and cellular proliferation stage. Okay, and this is the stage in which stage C is showing the callus formation, with thick cellular mass is deposited in the periosteal and endosteal surfaces. No, this is the periosteal surface, endosteal surface, both on the periosteal and endosteal surfaces. The thick cellular masses are laid down due to and that is the callus formation, and this is somewhat limiting the movement. Okay, and now due to the mineralization and conversion of woven bone into lamellar bone, the solid calf, the ends of fracture are breached by a solid calf of bone. And now in case of remodeling, the areas where more stress is applied or exerted, there are thick lamellae are laid, unnecessary bones from unnecessary areas are removed, yes or no? And finally the medullary canal is reformed. So these some of the figures depict the processes of healing of fractures. So this figure over here shows callus formation, and how do the orthopedic surgeons they identify or they track the improvement in fractures by they trace it by x-rays, and this x-ray shows the callus formation. So if you can see it over here, there is the fracture, yes or no? This is the site of fracture, and the bones are not aligned. This is a displaced type of fracture. So consider that this is a fracture, yes or no? So this is an x-ray of a typical fracture showing healing, showing callus formation, and this the on the side of both ends or both sides of the fracture, this is showing the callus formation. Okay, so this is an x-ray, and this is when external callus formation takes place when external they are not surgically united. Okay, the movement is not caused by surgical interventions. Like if we put nails, if we put plates, these are the surgical methods of intervention. So you can see, in case of surgical intervention there is no callus formation, but in case when there is no surgical intervention, callus formation takes place at the site of fracture. Okay, this is the site of fracture and this is callus formation. So this much in the discussions for callus formation and healing of fracture. Hope you understood the topic. If yes, if the video helped you, please hit the like button and do subscribe and share to help the channel grow. Thank you guys.